Aliens said she was outmatched. That's why they're extinct. Now Captain Sarah Chien stood alone on the bridge of the Retribution, watching the last Zelkari dreadnought burn against the stars. The massive vessel, once the pride of an empire that had terrorized half the galaxy, now tumbled through space as a twisted monument to their own arrogance. "Ma'am," came the voice of Lieutenant Rodriguez from the communication station. "The Galactic Council is requesting immediate contact." Sarah didn't turn around. She kept her eyes fixed on the dying ship, remembering the words that had echoed through this very bridge 6 months ago. "Human, you are outmatched. Surrender now, and we might allow your species to serve us." The Zelkari had been so confident. Their empire spanned 12 star systems. Their technology was millennia ahead of humanity's first fumbling steps into space, and their military had never known defeat. When they'd arrived at Earth with their ultimatum, every species in the known galaxy had expected humanity to kneel. They hadn't understood humans very well. "Put them through," Sarah finally said, settling into her captain's chair. The holographic display shimmered to life, revealing the familiar blue-skinned features of Counselor Vextar of the Andorian Republic. Behind him, Sarah could see the other council members, representatives from dozens of species who had watched humanity's first contact with a mixture of pity and resignation. "Captain Chen," Vextar began, his forearms gesturing nervously. "The Council demands an immediate explanation for your ... actions." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "My actions? You mean defending my species from extinction? You've wiped out the entire Zelkari Empire." This came from Counselor Thresh, an insectoid being, whose mandibles clicked with agitation. 14 billion souls across 12 worlds. The Council explicitly ordered you to seek a diplomatic solution. "I did," Sarah replied calmly. "I offered them the same terms they offered humanity. Unconditional surrender, followed by a lifetime of servitude. They declined." The council chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien languages. Sarah waited patiently for them to settle down, her fingers drumming against the armrest of her chair. These beings had watched the Zelkari threaten Earth and done nothing. They'd call humanity's resistance admirable but futile. They'd prepared memorial services for a species they'd written off before the first shot was fired. "Captain," Vextar said once order was restored, "you must understand our position. The Zelkari were established power. Their defeat will upset the balance of—" "The Zelkari," Sarah interrupted, "made a fundamental error in judgment. They assumed that because humanity was young and our technology primitive, we would be easy prey. They forgot to consider what made us survive on a death world for 200,000 years." She stood up, pacing to the viewing port where the debris of the Zelkari fleet drifted like metallic snow. "When they blockaded Earth, they expected us to panic. Instead, we went to work. When they demanded our surrender, they expected compliance. Instead, we built weapons. When they sent their first wave of attackers, they expected a quick victory. Instead, they found humans who had been perfecting the art of war since before they discovered fire." The bridge crew behind her remained silent, but Sarah could feel their pride radiating like heat from a forge. These men and women had fought impossible odds for 6 months, turning each battle into a lesson and each loss into motivation. "You see," Sarah continued, turning back to the council, "the Zelkari made the same mistake that every bully makes. They confused technological superiority with actual superiority. They had better ships, better weapons, better shields. What they didn't have was what humans call the fire." Counselor Thresh leaned forward. "The fire? The absolute refusal to give up. The willingness to turn every defeat into a learning experience. The ability to adapt, improvise, and overcome. No matter the odds." Sarah's smile was sharp as a blade. "You see, Counselor, humans aren't the strongest species in the galaxy. We're not the smartest or the most advanced, but we're the most stubborn." She walked back to her chair, each step measured and deliberate. "When the Zelkari destroyed our orbital platforms, we learned to fight without them. When they jammed our communications, we developed new frequencies. When they adapted to our tactics, we developed new ones faster than they could keep up. Every time they thought they had us figured out, we became something else. The Retribution shuddered slightly as another piece of Zelkari debris bounced off their hull. Sarah didn't even blink. The final battle lasted 18 hours, she said quietly. Their flagship, the Eternal Dominion, was the size of a small moon. It should have been impossible for us to defeat. But humans have a saying, no plan survives. Contact with the enemy. The Zelkari had planned for everything, except fighting a species that treats impossible as a starting point. Vexstar S' expression had grown increasingly pale. Captain, what are your intentions now? Sarah looked directly into the camera, her eyes cold as space itself. My intentions, counselor, are simple. Humanity will take its place in the galactic community. We will trade, explore, and learn. We will be good neighbors to those who treat U.S. with respect. She paused, letting the weight of her next words settle. But we will never again allow anyone to threaten our extinction. The Zelkari learned that lesson too late. I trust the rest of the galaxy will learn it from their example. The council chamber fell silent. Sarah could see fear in their alien features, and she felt a moment of something that might have been regret. She hadn't wanted to become a figure of terror. But sometimes, terror was the only language bullies understood. This meeting is adjourned, she announced. Ending the transmission dot as the hologram faded, Lieutenant Rodriguez spoke quietly from his station. Ma'am, long-range sensors are detecting multiple fleets withdrawing from human space. Sarah nodded, unsurprised. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson today. Humans might be new to the cosmic stage, but they were very, very old at surviving. Outside the viewing port, the last pieces of the Zelkari Empire continued their eternal dance through the void, a reminder that in the vast darkness of space, it's not the size of the fight in the species that matters. It's the size of the species in the fight.